The penultimate episode of Matt Smith's first season as the 11th Doctor culminates with him tracking down the Pandorica. Little does he realise that the Pandorica is actually a trap set by all of his villains coming together, and ultimately they imprison him within, with little hope or chance of escape. That's the cliffhanger for the penultimate episode of the season, and at the time it was very, very exciting, and of course, character options, which were enjoying immense success with this Doctor Who line at the time, wanted to capitalise on this and produced a playset based on this finale. And this is of interest for a couple of different reasons. First of all, Character Options hadn't made that many Doctor Who playsets during their run. They'd released a couple of different TARDISes, and a few deluxe sets, action figures, and mini playsets. And this would be one of the last playsets they would produce in the line for a long time. The other interesting thing about this playset was the fact that it was actually a build-a-playset. This was something that hadn't been seen before and would not be seen since in the line, and I'll talk a little bit more about how that works later on. So the central component is the chair and the base of the playset. And this also came with a River Song action figure as well, which at the time was exclusive to this set. And you can see here, of course, this is one central piece. It is locked in place. It is just the chair and the base, and there's very little in the way of paint apps, but there's a few stickers on there and a bit of detailing, which is quite nice. I think they've missed an opportunity to make this electronic, and they could have had maybe the side panels light up or some lighting in the base to shine that green light up. That would have been quite nice. Maybe some sound effects as well. The Pandorica opening would have been quite cool, but alas, that isn't here. However, we can add our Matt Smith 11th Doctor figure into the seat, and he sits perfectly in it, which is fantastic. And you'll notice there are these manacles which can fold down and perfectly snugly contain his arms within, which is fantastic. There are also two shoulder guards that fold down, lock him in place. Finally, there are two metal belt straps that push together and again hold the Doctor in place there. And there you have it. The Doctor is locked securely in place, and that's it. Like I said, there's no other action features, there's no light up or sound effects. However, as I said before, this is a builder playset. And what Character Options did was they released a special wave of figures just based on the Pandorica. Each figure came with a separate piece of the Pandorica, essentially a side panel of the wall of the Pandorica with the green glowy disc. Now, what's quite cool is that this disc is actually a CD, and on the CD contains an audiobook from Doctor Who. The idea then is that you put these 6 pieces together and you have the exterior of the Pandorica, all 6 sides of this, essentially a cube. Now of course, you don't need all 6 sides, you really need, say, 5 of the pieces to have the full exterior. And certainly if you're planning to have the full set, so you've got main chair piece, then again, you only need 5 of the 6 pieces to fully build the Pandorica. And so here is how it looks when it is fully completed and assembled, and it looks pretty good. One of the things I like about it, of course, is that CD, that it does spin round, because again, in the show, it lights up and it spins, so it's nice that it recreates that. And I think, it looks pretty good. There's some slight different coloration between the base and the side panels, but that's a minor niggle. But overall, I think this, it looks really screen accurate and it looks pretty good. Now, I did mention at the very beginning of the video that the Pandorica did come with a River Song figure, and this figure was exclusive at the time of release. Previously, we'd only had one other River Song in the collection, which was based on her Silence in the Library appearance, so this was good to have a fully realised version of this character. About a year later, this figure would be re-released, however it wouldn't be quite the same as it wouldn't have the fur coat. So this figure is of course based on her appearance from the Pandorica Opens. The costume is screen accurate and they've done a nice job of bringing this to figure form. One of the things I will criticise the figure for though is the hairpiece. As you can see, it is clearly a separate piece from the head, and there is that unseemly line there, and I think this has been built with the idea of being able to eventually have other moulds with different hairstyles for this character, but I don't think we ever got any other versions of River Song, so this seems like a misstep in hindsight. Now, in terms of articulation, River Song fares really quite well for a figure in this range. She can swivel her head from side to side, it can go right the way around if you wanted to. There's not really much hindrance from the collar or the hairpiece, which is really, really good. She has that wonderful ball-jointed shoulder piece that not all these figures got, so she was fortunate to get that, so her arms can extend outwards to the side, which is fantastic. She has the bicep swivel, and she has the single-jointed elbow, and of course her wrist can swivel as well. She can also swivel at the waist, and she can kick her legs forwards, out to the side, and she also has a single-jointed knee, and also there is a calf swivel at the boot as well. She also comes with a laser pistol, which fits into her holster, which is molded onto her belt really quite nicely. And she can hold it just about. The grip on the pistol is a little bit too big, a little bit too wide, so you do have to really force it in there. And sadly, she doesn't have a trigger fingers that can go through that hole there, so it does look a little bit clumsy, a little bit clunky, but it does the job. And of course, once you start putting these figures together around the playset, that's when it really starts to come to life and take on a bit more of the spirit of the show and becomes a bit more fun. Overall, I think this is a hard sell, this playset. I'm very fond of it. I really like it. It's a little piece of Doctor Who merchandise from that time, from season 5, which was quite exciting for introducing a new Doctor and having all these villains come together for the first time. So I really like it from that point of view. I think as a playset, I think this is kind of difficult to sell it really, because I think essentially in order to build this set fully, you're going to have to commit to buying 5 figures that you may have already purchased and the central column itself. The central column by itself doesn't really stand without the other pieces. You do really kind of need those other, at least 2 of the pieces to kind of fill it out and make it look like the Pandorica. And if you were to buy just the 6 figures and just have the Pandorica, the external Pandorica, you're kind of missing something in terms of the play value you can have there, because the main part of it happens inside, and that's supposed to be the fun part of it. I think in hindsight it would have been great if they could have made this electronic, give it some lights, some sounds. I think that would have helped it be, you know, more prominent and more collector friendly and more toyetic. So overall, I think it's a mixed bag. I personally really like it, but I can see why parents and collectors would have been put off by this. That said, it is really fun, and I think it's nice to have a centrepiece from that season represented in toy form, and I really like having it as part of my collection, as it feels like something of a hidden gem really. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it a like, and remember to subscribe, as I'll be posting a lot more videos soon.